Hey guys, Mike here over in Taiwan. The weather today is excellent. I hope that this day doesn't end off in a rainy day or whatever it is. Sometimes it does, but you got to kind of roll with the punches, right? Yeah. So I woke up today. I had a coffee. There's a little bit dry in my room, but I mean it is what it is. And yeah, people are kind of driving around here like maniacs, but I kind of don't. I live like right beside the highway, so. I could see why. I guess they're just kind of rushing off to work, and it is rush hour right now. So, like, to be fair, yeah. So that's another thing too. Is about like what would you do if you eliminated the commute from your life? I think that probably for 99% of people in Asia, commuting is like the bane of their existence, and especially if you want to have a nice house that you can afford, but at the same time have like a job that pays you a lot of money. You're probably gonna live within like an hour or an hour and a half commute to work, which is fine. But I think that's probably going to run you down within a year. I mean, for some people it doesn't, and more power to you. That's okay. But yeah, I rather wouldn't have that. I was actually really happy with kind of the housing that they would get me in South Korea, because they get like me a place that's like within 10 to 15 minutes walk from my work, which obviously makes sense. In Taiwan, the thing is that like if you know Taiwan really well, then they'll do stuff for you, like they'll just give you like the housing money, and then you can just basically live wherever you want. So there's a lot more flexibility, like as long as like the place. And it's kind of weird. Taiwan is like one of those places where I've actually met some people who are not fluent in Mandarin Chinese, and yet they know like the system like really well. So, a friend of mine had visas multiple times, coming into Korea, and I mean not Korea, Taiwan, but it was basically they're married to somebody. And for those of you who don't know, if you have a marriage visa, like you could basically work anywhere. In theory, you could probably work over in 7-Eleven too. Most people don't, obviously, because the wages aren't really that great. I mean, it would be interesting to see, though. The only time that I've ever seen a foreigner that does like a local's job is Uber Eats. I don't know why this person did that, but yeah, it was interesting to see that. So yeah, you can hear people. They love honking here sometimes. And I don't want to especially like point to like some certain demographic, but it's like they're so like super impatient to get where they're going. And actually, what's kind of funny about like the cars here is that you'll sometimes see like a really expensive car, and they just have this like attitude that like you have to move out of the way for them. You have to just go at the speed that they're going or whatever it is. And it's like dude, okay, yeah, I know you spent like $50,000 on this car, but I don't really care. But and maybe it's also kind of a status symbol too. Maybe it's kind of like, well, if you don't do the things that I say, then I'll go ahead and sue you. Suing actually is weird in Taiwan, because it doesn't necessarily have the same meaning as it does in America. Because in America, suing someone is like a civil suit. But I think that what they're trying to say is that they'll find some way to get you in trouble. I have a friend of mine who was kind of like worried about like posting some videos about themselves, because it showed that they were like being successful, making money, stuff like that. And I was saying that to them, it's kind of bad that we have to, in this day and age in 2026, we have to worry about if somebody's going to sabotage you. Like, can't you just be happy for them? Just be like, okay, well, this person has a lot of money. They're doing well with their life. Cool, right? They have this saying about people who win the lottery that after 5 years, all their money is gone. I think one of the worst things that they absolutely do about people who like, win the lottery is like announce it in like newspapers, internet, all this stuff. Because like then the next thing you get is all these people knocking on their doors thinking that you owe them something. They'll say like, hey man, you got $1 million. Like, can you lend me $50? It's not a lot to you, right? Yeah, it probably is not a lot to me at that point, but what's my obligation to give you that money to help you out, right? And I think a long time ago, I realized that I'm kind of sick and tired of like people who think that something is an obligation. I did ask AI about sometime And this was really dumb on my part. I had this like pretty hot lady that I knew a long time ago, and I didn't even know why she was talking to me. But then I realized a little bit later, she told me that she wanted me to go with her to a really expensive restaurant. I didn't realize later that she wouldn't be spending 50-50 on the date or like whatever it was, and it wasn't really even a date either. It was just like a I'm going to use you for use you for whatever, and then it's like $100 meal, and I'm like, this is ridiculous. This is more than some people in like this is more money in this one meal than some people in some third world countries make in 1 month, and what a waste, right? I've actually only met like 2 people in my entire life that have this thinking that because I'm a man, I should pay for everything. And I think it's okay, I guess, but then you're kind of like putting yourself out there where you need to depend on men in order to survive, right? I did a long time ago. I made this like speed dating thing, and I don't know where I got this idea from. I was with my friend, and he runs like a clothing store or something. That's kind of a long story too. I wonder if he's still in business. So basically, we got a bunch of guys, we got a bunch of ladies, and the ladies were pretty hot. The guys were meh, except for my one friend. And they would just all run about and like see like, okay, well, like who do we like and blah blah blah. And I was like dressed in like a suit. So they saying like, why don't you go participate and blah blah blah. And I was like, no, I don't want to. So anyway, there's this one girl, and she had a pretty face, skinny, showing a lot more skin than she probably should, but she was super popular. So what she did was she got a bunch of guys that she met from like this speed dating thing and invited them to her house. And I don't know exactly what she was thinking, just some type of attention or something. And she's probably going to draw the line at something. There's absolutely no intention of her like being intimate with anybody. But I think she was basically giving all these guys like the wrong idea, and she was just kind of fishing. So it's weird how she's trying to see how much attention that she could get, and then maybe use these men for something. And I, in all honesty, I'm very, and it may sound a little bit misogynistic, but like I really don't really have respect for people who use people or think of people as just some type of object in order to get something out of them. A long time ago, I had somebody talk to me in Taiwan about like why I'm just friendly to like other people who speak English or whatever. And like, now and then I'll like meet somebody or see somebody and I'll say, hey, blah, 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 something, and then just say bye. And then they said to me, well, why is it that you just talk to people that you don't know? And I said, I'm just being friendly, right? And then, they said, well, you're not getting anything out of them. Well, why do you need to get things out of people, right? So, I mean, it's up to you if you have that mentality where like you need something from somebody, so you're just going to go get it from them, but you're never going to really have that genuine connection with people. You're never going to really, especially in this day and age right now with AI, people are they're looking for that human connection, that human just idea of swapping ideas with like the people who's like someone who's a genuine human, who like you chat with them and you can really talk with them. Because right now, especially in 2026, your AI can basically do whatever you want. You want a girlfriend, you can go to AI. If you want a friend that just is platonic, who you just want to like throw ideas off of, and there's a little bit of a sycophancy there, because they're just going to say yes, 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 whatever it is, right? You say, hey, I want to be an astronaut. They'll say yes, 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 yes. I want to be like a programmer over at a successful Fortune 500 company in Silicon Valley. They're going to say yes, yes, yes. Even if you are like just some bum who lives in your mom's basement, right? Which like the odds of that happening are probably 1,000,000 to 1. Anyways, guys, I'm just done with my rant here for now. Probably a little too much coffee, a little bit more egg cakes, too much egg cakes, and nice pork burgers that I usually have from this restaurant. It's Mike here in Taiwan. I'll see you guys later. Bye.